New York City glows under a starry sky, its towering skyscrapers pulsing with life. At the heart of this vibrant city stands Brightstar Corp., a tech empire where innovation thrives and deadlines rule. In a quiet corner of the open-plan office, Emily Harper, a 25-year-old new hire, sits hunched over her desk. Her dark hair is tied in a messy bun, her glasses slide down her nose, and papers are strewn around her like fallen leaves. She has been working for hours, racing to finish a project proposal for a big meeting tomorrow. Her eyes droop, her coffee cup sits empty, and she mutters to herself about needing a break, or maybe a miracle to get through the night. Emily is the kind of person who can make anyone laugh with her quick wit, but her clumsiness is the stuff of office legend. Last week she spilled coffee on her boss's shoes. The week before she tripped over a printer cord, nearly toppling a filing cabinet. Tonight, she is determined to prove she belongs at Brightstar, to show she is more than a walking disaster. But exhaustion takes over. Her head dips, her fingers slip, and she slumps onto her keyboard, fast asleep. As she dozes, her hand accidentally hits the send key, firing off an email draft she wrote as a joke to vent to her friend. Titled Late Night Rant, it reads, "Dear team, I'm done with this job. My boss is the worst. Send help or coffee. Love, Emily." The message lands in the company-wide group inbox, including the account of James Carter, Brightstar's CEO. Across the building, in a sleek office overlooking the Hudson River, James Carter, 32, sits at his desk. He is a tech prodigy known for his sharp suits and sharper mind, leading Brightstar to new heights. But behind his cool blue eyes hides a heart wary of trust, bruised from a failed marriage that left him distant. Tonight, he is troubleshooting a glitch in the Campagna's email system, scrolling through messages to test the servers. Emily's email pops up, and he pauses. "The worst boss, huh?" he murmurs, a rare smile breaking his usual stoic expression. Intrigued by her boldness, he decides to see who this Emily Harper is. James walks through the silent office, his polished shoes barely making a sound on the carpet. He finds Emily at her desk, her cheek pressed against a stack of papers, a soft snore escaping her lips. Her hair spills out of its bun, her glasses sit crooked, yet there is something oddly captivating about her in this unguarded moment. As he steps closer, a small photo slips from her bag onto the floor. He picks it up, a faded picture of a young Emily standing with her parents in front of a house. His breath catches. The house looks almost identical to the Carter family's old estate, tied to a painful memory from 23 years ago when a child went missing after a car accident. Could she be connected to that tragedy, he wonders, his mind racing. Instead of waking her, James grabs a sticky note and writes, "Careful sleeping at the office, but I like your honesty, JC." He places it on her monitor, his gaze lingering on her peaceful face. For the first time in years, he feels a spark, a pull he cannot explain. He slips the photo into his pocket and leaves quietly, determined to learn more about this mysterious employee. Back in his office, he pulls up Emily's file, noting her recent hire and impressive college record. She's not just clumsy, he thinks. There's something special here. Morning light pours into the office. Emily jolts awake, her neck stiff, her heart pounding. "Oh no," she groans, realizing she has slept at her desk all night. Her eyes catch the sticky note and she squints at the neat handwriting. "JC, who is that?" she mutters, assuming it's a prank from a coworker. Then she opens her email and freezes. The late-night rant stares back at her, marked as sent to the entire company. Her stomach twists. "I'm so fired," she whispers, imagining her boss's anger. Desperate to salvage the situation, she grabs a pen and writes on the sticky note, "Thanks for the coffee offer, JC, but please don't tell the boss." She sticks it back on her monitor, hoping her charm can save her. As Emily gathers her papers, Sophie Miller, James's 28-year-old executive assistant, walks into the office. Sophie is polished, her blonde hair sleek, her smile practiced but cold. She has worked hard to be James's trusted aide, secretly hoping for more than a professional bond. She notices the sticky note on Emily's monitor and frowns. JC? She murmurs, recognizing Jameis' initials. Her eyes flick to James, who is watching Emily from a distance, his expression softer than usual. Sophie feels a pang of jealousy. This new girl is trouble, she thinks, vowing to keep her in check. Emily, unaware of the tension, hurries to the break room for coffee, tripping over a chair and muttering about needing to survive the day without losing her job. Meanwhile, James returns to his office, finding Emily's reply note delivered by an intern. He chuckles at her plea, his curiosity growing. She's got spirit, he thinks, deciding to keep her email mishap a secret for now. But the photo in his pocket nags at him. If Shez tied to the Carter family's past, he needs answers. Sophie, determined to protect her place at Jameis' side, digs into Emily's background. She pulls up her employee files, scoffing at the lack of prestige. Nothing special, she thinks, yet Jameis' interest in this nobody unsettles her. She remembers a story Henry Carter, Jameis' grandfather, once told about a missing heir, a secret rarely discussed. If Emily is connected, Sophie muses, she could be useful or dangerous. Either way, I won't let her get close to James. She decides to test Emily with an impossible work task, setting a trap to expose her weaknesses. That evening, Emily collapses onto her couch in her small Brooklyn apartment, still rattled by the email disaster. She pulls out the sticky note, smiling at JCM words. Maybe Hez not so bad, she thinks, unaware that her life is about to tangle with Bright Star's deepest secrets. Across the city, James sits in his penthouse, staring at the photo from Emily's bag. Emily Harper, he whispers. Who are you really? The hum of New York fades, leaving only the promise of love, lies, and truths waiting to unfold. The morning sun bathes Bright Star core New York office in gold, but for Emily Harper, the glow feels more like a spotlight on her mistakes. After her email mishap went viral among the company group, she expects to be called into her boss' office any moment, her career at stake. The 25-year-old rookie adjusts her glasses, smooths her wrinkled blouse, and takes a deep breath. She is determined to make things right, to prove she is more than the clumsy girl who sent a rant to the entire company. Her desk is still a mess from last night's work marathon, but she dives into her project proposal, hoping hard work can erase her blunder. Little does she know, her life at Bright Star is about to get far more complicated. Across the office, Sophie Miller, Jameis' sharp-eyed executive assistant, watches Emily with a calculating smile. At 28, Sophie has spent years climbing the ranks to be indispensable to James Carter, the 32-year-old CEO. Her polished appearance hides a burning ambition to secure not just power, but Jameis' affection. The sticky note exchange between James and Emily, marked with his initials JC, has left Sophie rattled. She cannot shake the image of James watching Emily yesterday. His usual cold demeanor softened. To Sophie, Emily is a threat, a nobody who stumbled into the wrong spotlight. She decides to test Emily, to expose her as unfit for Bright Star. Sophie assigns her an impossible task, a detailed project proposal due in 3 days, a job that seasoned employees would struggle to complete in a week. Let's see how you handle this, rookie, Sophie thinks, her smile tightening. Emily receives the assignment via email, her heart sinking as she reads the requirements. 3 days, she mutters, pushing her glasses up. This is insane. But she refuses to back down. She spends her lunch break buried in spreadsheets, skipping her usual coffee run to focus. Her coworker Rachel, a 35-year-old team leader with a knack for office politics, notices Emily's intensity. Rachel, influenced by Sophie's subtle nudging, decides to make things harder. She withholds key data Emily needs for the proposal, claiming it's locked in another department. Sorry, Harper, Rachel says with a shrug. You'll figure it out. Emily bites her lip, sensing the hostility, but keeps working, determined to prove herself. Meanwhile, James sits in his corner office, the photo from Emily's bag still on his mind. He spent the night researching the Carter family's past, revisiting the accident 23 years ago that left a child missing, presumed lost. The house in Emily's photo matches the old Carter estate too closely to be a coincidence. Could she be the missing heir, he wonders, torn between logic and hope. His grandfather, Henry Carter, has never fully recovered from that loss, and James feels a duty to uncover the truth. He pulls up Emily's work-in-progress proposal, impressed by her creativity despite the tight deadline. She's got talent, he thinks, recalling her cheeky sticky note reply. To test her further, he assigns her a high-profile project, one that could showcase her skills or expose her limits. He tells himself it's about the family mystery, but deep down, he wants to see more of her spark. Emily gets the new assignment notification and nearly chokes on her water. "Another project?" she groans, rubbing her temples. But the email is signed JC, the same initials as her mystery note writer. Her curiosity peaks. Is JC trying to help me or bury me? She wonders, half smiling. She heads to the break room for a much-needed coffee, where she bumps into a tall man in a crisp suit. He catches her cup before it spills, his blue eyes meeting hers. "Sorry about that," he says, handing it back. Emily blushes, mumbling a thanks, unaware she's talking to James Carter himself. She notices his name tag says J. Carter, but assumes he's a mid-level manager. "You're JC, right?" she asks impulsively. "Thanks for the note. Don't tell the boss about my email, okay?" James raises an eyebrow, amused. "My lips are sealed," he says, his voice warm. Emily grins, calling him coffee guy, before hurrying back to her desk, leaving James chuckling. Their brief encounter lingers in James' mind. Emily's unguarded humor is a stark contrast to the polished world he navigates, and he finds it refreshing. He starts finding excuses to cross paths with her, dropping by her desk to ask about her progress, or leaving a coffee on her desk with a note, "Keep up the good work." JC Emily, oblivious to his true role, thinks has just a kind co-worker, maybe even a friend. She starts leaving notes back like, "Coffee guy, you owe me a donut now." Her playfulness chips away at James' walls, stirring feelings he thought were long buried. But Sophie notices these interactions, her jealousy growing. She overhears Emily call James coffee guy and realizes Emily has no idea who he is. Perfect, Sophie thinks. She's clueless. I'll make sure she stays that way. Sophie doubles down on her plan. She meets Rachel in the copy room, suggesting they slow Emily's project by misplacing her files. Rachel, eager to stay in Sophie's good graces, agrees. "They'll make her look incompetent," Rachel says, smirking. Sophie nods, but her real goal is bigger. She has been digging into the Carter family's records, chasing rumors of a missing heir. At a company archive, she finds an old letter from 23 years ago, written by a family friend, mentioning a child lost in the accident. The letter is vague, but Sophie sees an opportunity. If she can twist its words to claim she's the heir, she could secure a place in the Carter family and James' life. She starts drafting a version of the letter, altering details to point to herself, planning to reveal it when the time is right. That evening, Brightstar hosts a networking event in its rooftop lounge, a glittering affair of suits and champagne. Emily attends reluctantly, feeling out of place in her simple black dress. She fumbles a handshake, spilling a drink, and mutters to herself about surviving the night. Henry Carter, James' 70-year-old grandfather and Brightstar's chairman emeritus, spots her across the room. His eyes widen. Emily looks strikingly like his old friend, the housekeeper who worked for the Carters years ago. Henry approaches, his warm smile putting Emily at ease. "You remind me of someone," he says, offering her a glass of water. They chat, and Emily's genuine kindness touches him. He invites her to a family dinner at the Carter estate, saying, "We'd love to have you, Emily." She accepts, flustered but honored, unaware of the weight of his words. Sophie, watching from the sidelines, clenches her glass. Henry's attention to Emily feels like a betrayal. She corners Emily later, pretending to be friendly. "You're new, right?" she says, her tone syrupy. "If you need help with that proposal, I'm here." Emily, grateful, thanks her, not sensing the trap. Sophie smiles, already planning to sabotage Emil's work further. She also notices James watching Emily talk with Henry, his expression soft, her heart twists. He's falling for her, she thinks, vowing to act fast. She decides to spread a rumor that Henry's health is failing, hoping to unsettle the board and create chaos to unveil her forged letter. Emily leaves the event early, her mind spinning from Henry's kindness and the stress of her projects. She stops by her desk, finding another coffee and note from JC. "You're doing great, keep it up." She smiles, tucking the note into her bag next to the faded photo of her parents. At home, she collapses onto her couch, wondering who JC really is. Has got to be more than a manager, she thinks, her heart fluttering. Across town, James sits in his penthouse, the original photo from Emily's bag on his desk. He pulls up the Carter family's old records, his finger tracing the date of the accident. "Emily Harper," he murmurs. "What are you hiding?" Sophie, meanwhile, works late in her apartment, typing her version of the Carter letter. She alters names and dates, crafting a story that paints her as the lost heir. If Henry's health rumors take hold, she thinks, the board will look for stability, and it'll be ready. Her phone buzzes with a message from Rachel, confirming Emily's files have been misplaced. Sophie grins, imagining Emily's failure, but as she glances at a photo of James on her desk, her resolve hardens. "Emily won't take him from me," she vows. The next day, Emily arrives at the office, determined to tackle her proposal despite the missing data. She sends her draft to the company group email, double-checking to avoid another rant disaster. As she works, she overhears whispers about Henry's health, rumors of him stepping down. Concerned, she texts Henry to check in, their bond growing. James, passing by, sees her focus and feels a pang of admiration. He leaves another note. "You've got this." JC Emily finds it, her smile widening. "Coffee guy," she thinks. "You might just be my lucky charm." But Sophie's plan is in motion, and the truth about the Carter family looms closer, threatening to unravel everything. The Bright Star Corp office hums with tension as Emily Harper pushes through another grueling day. Her desk is a fortress of papers and coffee cups, a testament to her fight against the impossible project proposal Sophie Miller dumped on her 3 days ago. The 25-year-old rookie adjusts her glasses, her dark hair slipping from its bun, and types furiously. She has barely slept, driven by a need to prove herself after the email mishap that nearly cost her job. The deadline looms tonight, and despite Rachel's sabotage with missing data, Emily has pieced together a draft she hopes will impress. She sends it to the company group email, double-checking to avoid another disaster like her infamous rant. But whispers around the office unsettle her. Rumors that Henry Carter, the Conkling's beloved chairman, is too ill to lead. Emily worries about the kind grandfather figure who invited her to dinner, unaware that a storm is brewing far beyond her control. Sophie Miller, James' 28-year-old executive assistant, moves through the office with calculated grace. Her blonde hair is perfect, her smile a mask for her growing desperation. She has spent days spreading rumors about Henry's failing health, whispering to board members that he might step down. Her forged letter, a twisted version of a 23-year-old Carter family document, sits ready in her bag, painting her as the lost heir from the accident that haunts the family. Sophie believes this lie will secure her place at Bright Star and in James' heart, but Emily's resilience threatens her plan. The rookie should have crumbled by now, Sophie thinks, irritated that Emily keeps succeeding. She urges Rachel, the 35-year-old team leader, to escalate their sabotage, suggesting they steal Emily's proposal and claim it as Rachel's own. Rachel hesitates but agrees, hungry for a promotion. "They'll bury her at the board meeting," Sophie promises, her eyes cold. Emily senses the hostility but stays focused, her fingers flying over her keyboard. She saves every draft, a lesson learned from her email blunder, ensuring no one can erase her work. At lunch, she steps away to call Henry, checking on him after the health rumors. His voice is warm but tired, and he insists. "Has fine, just a bit under the weather." "Come to dinner soon, Emily," he says, making her smile. As she hangs up, she overhears Sophie and Rachel in the break room, their voices low. "That letter will seal it," Sophie says. "Once Henry's out, in the air," Rachel laughs, mentioning Emily's proposal files they copied. Emily freezes, her heart racing. "They're stealing my work," she realizes, and something about a letter sounds dangerous. She slips away, determined to protect her project and uncover Sophie's plan. Across the office, James Carter, the 32-year-old CEO, sits in his sleek office, his mind torn between work and Emily. The photo from her bag showing a house tied to the Carter family's past still nags at him. He spent the weekend digging through old records, finding no clear link to Emily as the missing heir. Yet he cannot shake his curiosity. Her grit impresses him, her latest draft showing creativity that rivals senior staff. He has been leaving her notes as JC, encouraging her progress, and her playful replies calling him coffee guy warm his guarded heart. But Sophie's behavior raises red flags. He caught her whispering to board members about Henry's health, and her sudden interest in family archives feels off. James decides to investigate, pulling Sophie's recent emails and finding vague references to a letter. He suspects she's hiding something, and it might involve Emily. The board meeting arrives, a high-stakes gathering in Bright Star's glass-walled conference room. Emily submits her proposal early, emailing it directly to James to avoid tampering, a move born from her overhearing Sophie's plan. She sits nervously at the table, her palms sweaty, as Rachel presents a nearly identical proposal, claiming it as her own. Sophie smirks, expecting Emily to falter. The board murmurs, impressed by the work, but Emily's heart sinks. They stole it, she thinks, her stomach twisting. Rachel finishes, basking in the praise when Emily stands, her voice steady despite her nerves. I have proof. That's my work, she says, pulling up her laptop. She shows the board her saved drafts, time-stamped days before Rachel's submission, with notes only she could have written. The room falls silent. James, presiding over the meeting, leans forward, his blue eyes sharp. Explain this, Rachel, he says, his tone icy. Rachel stammers, glancing at Sophie, who remains stone-faced. The board demands answers, and Emily speaks again, her voice stronger. I worked nights on this, she says. Check the metadata. It's mine. James nods, instructing IT to verify. Within minutes, the timestamps confirm Emily's claim, exposing Rachel's theft. The board erupts in disapproval, and Rachel slumps, mumbling apologies. Sophie tries to deflect, suggesting a misunderstanding, but James shuts her down. This is unacceptable, he says, his gaze lingering on Emily with quiet pride. He assigns Emily to lead the project, a vote of confidence that stuns her. As the meeting ends, Emily feels a rush of victory, but Sophie's glare tells her the fight is not over. Sophie retreats to her office, furious at Emily's triumph. She decides to escalate her plan, spreading more rumors about Henry's health to pressure the board into considering new leadership. She slips her forged letter into a board member's hands, claiming it proves she's the Carter heir, lost in the accident years ago. The rumor mill churns, and Henry, already weary from a persistent cough, feels the strain. At home that evening, he collapses during a call with James, clutching his chest. An ambulance rushes him to the hospital, diagnosed with a mild heart attack brought on by stress. James races to his side, guilt gnawing at him for not noticing Henry's fatigue sooner. He vows to protect his grandfather and uncover who's behind the rumors. Emily hears about Henry's hospitalization through office gossip and feels a pang of worry. She visits him after work, bringing a small bouquet of flowers. Henry, weak but smiling, takes her hand. You're a good kid, Emily, he says. You let this place harden you. She promises to check in, her bond with him deepening. As she leaves, she overhears Sophie on the phone in the hospital hallway, gloating about the letter and Henry's collapse. Shall be the heir now, Sophie says, unaware Emily is listening. Emily's blood runs cold. She realizes Sophie's plan goes beyond office games, threatening the Carter family. She decides to find the truth, starting with the letter Sophie mentioned. Back at Bright Star, James digs deeper into Sophie's actions. He finds a draft of her forged letter in her email, comparing it to family records. The inconsistencies are glaring, names and dates altered to fit her story. He confronts Sophie, who denies everything, claiming she found the letter in good faith. James does not buy it, but he needs hard proof to expose her. He thinks of Emily, her honesty and courage in the board meeting, and feels a pull stronger than curiosity. It's not just about the family mystery anymore, he admits to himself. falling for her. That night, Emily stays late at the office, searching Henry's public files for clues about the letter. She finds a reference to a 23-year-old family friend who wrote about the accident, but the document is locked. Exhausted, she leans back, her thoughts drifting to JC notes. "Coffee guy," she murmurs, smiling. "You believe in me, don't you?" She writes a note to leave on her desk. "JC, thanks for the support. I need it now more than ever." As she packs up, James passes by, seeing her note. He reads it, his heart racing. He wants to tell her the truth, that Hezje cares for her beyond any family secret. Instead, he leaves a reply. "You're stronger than you know. JC." The next day, Emily meets James in the hallway, still thinking as a manager. She thanks him for the coffee, joking about her crazy week. He smiles, his usual reserve melting. "You handled that meeting like a pro," he says. Emily blushes, unaware as the CEO. As they part, James makes a decision. He tracks down the original Carter family letter stored in Henry's private office, hoping it holds the key to Sophie's lies. But Sophie is one step ahead, planting her forged version with the board, ready to claim her place as heir at the next meeting. Henry's condition stabilizes, but the doctor warns stress could worsen his heart. Emily, unaware of the letter's contents, vows to protect Henry, her resolve hardening. James visits Henry, who mentions Emily's hospital visit. "Chez Special James," Henry says, his voice weak. "Look out for her." James nods, his feelings for Emily crystallizing. He confronts Emily later, unable to hold back. "I know about Sophie's plan," he says, his voice urgent. "And I need you to know something else. I care about you, Emily, not because of some photo or family secret, but because of who you are." Emily stares, stunned, her heart pounding. "You're JC, aren't you?" she asks, pieces clicking. James nods, and for a moment they stand close, the air charged. But Emily pulls back, overwhelmed. "I'm just a nobody," she says. "I can't drag you into this mess." She turns to leave, planning to quit Brightstar to shield James from Sophie's schemes. James watches her go, determined to stop her, knowing the truth about the letter could change everything. Emily Harper walks through the Brightstar Corp office, her heart heavy with doubt. The 25-year-old rookie clutches a folder of notes, her glasses slipping as she navigates the maze of cubicles. After exposing Rachel's theft at the board meeting, she should feel triumphant. But Sophie Miller's schemes loom larger than ever. Emily overheard Sophie bragging about a forged letter claiming to be the Carter family's lost heir, a lie that threatens Henry Carter, the grandfatherly chairman who welcomed her like family. Worse, James Carter, the 32-year-old CEO she thought was just a kind manager, revealed he's JC, her mystery note writer, and confessed he cares for her. Emily's mind reels. She's nobody, just a clumsy employee who sent a rant email to the whole company. How can she belong in James's world? She considers quitting Brightstar to protect him from Sophie's wrath, unaware that the truth is about to change everything. In the hospital, Henry Carter rests in his room, his face pale but his spirit strong. The 70-year-old chairman survived a mild heart attack, triggered by stress from Sophie's rumors about his health. James sits by his bedside, guilt etched into his features. He blames himself for not stopping Sophie sooner. Henry grips his hand, his voice firm. "Find that letter, James," he says. "The real one. It's in my office safe. It'll tell you everything." James nods, determined to expose Sophie's lies. He thinks of Emily, her courage in the board meeting, her quiet visit with flowers. She's more than a mystery, he realizes. She's the one he wants by his side. He leaves the hospital, heading to Brightstar to retrieve the letter, hoping it holds answers about Emily and the family's past. Sophie, meanwhile, prepares for her final move. Her forged letter, a twisted version of a 23-year-old Carter family document, has reached key board members. She dressed impeccably, her blonde hair sleek, and meets with them in a private lounge. "I'm the heir," she says, presenting her version of the letter with altered names and dates. With Henry unwell, Brightstar needs stable leadership. The board hesitates, wary of her sudden claim, but her confidence sways some. Sophie imagines herself at James's side, running the company, her ambition blinding her to the cracks in her plan. She texts Rachel, demanding silence about their sabotage of Emily, unaware that Emily is closing in on the truth. Emily stays late at the office, driven by a need to protect Henry. She searches Henry's public files, finding a reference to a family friend's letter from the accident 23 years ago, but it's locked. Her fingers tremble as she types, her thoughts drifting to James's confession. "You're JC," she murmurs, still stunned. He saw something in her, believed in her. From that first night she slept at her desk, she finds a sticky note on her monitor, left earlier. "You're stronger than you know. JC." Her heart aches. She wants to believe him, but fear holds her back. She writes a reply, tucking it into her bag. "JC, I don't know if I'm strong enough for this. Thanks for believing in me." She heads to Henry's office, hoping to find the letter Sophie mentioned, not knowing James is already there. James unlocks Henry's safe, his hands steady as he pulls out the original letter. It's written by a family friend, detailing the accident that claimed a Carter child. His eyes scan the faded ink, landing on a name, Emily's mother, the housekeeper who worked for the Carters. The letter describes her sacrifice, saving a child who later died, leaving Emily orphaned. Henry took her in, raising her like family to honor that bravery. James's breath catches. Emily isn't the heir, but she's tied to the Carters by love, not blood. He feels a surge of relief and clarity. It was never about the photo, he thinks. It's her heart, her fight. He pockets the letter, determined to tell Emily the truth and stop Sophie. The next morning, Brightstar buzzes with anticipation for an emergency board meeting. Sophie arrives early, her forged letter ready to seal her claim. Emily, sleepless but resolute, slips into the meeting, her folder of notes clutched tight. She spots James across the room, his blue eyes meeting hers, and her resolve wavers. She wants to run, to leave New York and its drama, but Henry's kindness anchors her. The board convenes, and Sophie stands, presenting her letter with a practiced smile. "This proves I'm the Carter heir," she says. "It's time for new leadership." Murmurs ripple through the room, but Emily steps forward, her voice clear. "That's a lie," she says, pulling out printouts from Henry's files. "I found the original letter last night. It tells a different story." James joins her, holding the authentic letter from the safe. He reads aloud, his voice steady, recounting the housekeeper's sacrifice and Henry's promise to care for Emily. "Sophie's version is a fake," he says, showing the board the discrepancies. "The metadata doesn't lie," Emily adds, echoing her board meeting victory. "We checked her emails. She altered the letter herself." The board erupts, demanding explanation. Sophie stammers, her composure cracking, but the evidence is undeniable. The board votes to remove her from Brightstar, and she leaves in disgrace, her dreams shattered. Emily exhales, relief washing over her, but sadness lingers. She's not a Carter, not really. Where does she belong now? Henry recovers in the hospital, his strength returning. Emily visits, bringing his favorite tea. He takes her hand, his eyes bright. "Your family, Emily," he says, "not by blood, but by heart. Your mother saved that child, and I promised to look after you. I kept that promise." Emily's eyes fill with tears, her fear of being a nobody fading. She hugs him, grateful for his love. Henry tells her the full story. Her mother died shielding the Carter child, who passed later. Emily was his gift, a reminder of courage. "You're not an outsider," he says. "You're home." Emily leaves the hospital, her heart lighter, ready to face James. James finds Emily at Brightstar the next evening, working late on her new project. He asks her to take a walk, leading her to Central Park, where the city lights twinkle like stars. They sit on a bench, the air cool, and he takes her hand. "I fell for you that first night," he says, his voice soft. "You were asleep, a mess, and I couldn't look away. Not because of a photo, but because of you. Your heart, your fight. Emily, I love you." He pulls out a ring, simple but shining. "Will you stay with me?" Emily's breath catches, her doubts melting. You're JC, she says, laughing through tears. Coffee guy. Yes, I'll stay. They kiss, the park fading around them, their future bright. Months later, Emily stands in Bright Star's conference room, now a team leader, her clumsiness tempered by confidence. She runs a meeting with ease, her glasses still slipping, but her smile steady. James watches from the back, proud, their engagement ring glinting on her finger. At home, Emily finds a letter Henry kept, written by her parents before they died. "We're proud of you, Emily," it reads. "Live boldly." She clutches it, tears falling, knowing she has. That night, she and James stand on the Brooklyn Bridge, New York skyline stretching before them. They hold hands, their laughter mingling with the city's hum, ready to write their story together.